is the 77 WABC minicast.
Lara, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say.
Listen, when you tell me 8:30, I already have planned that it's going to be 8:40. By the time that I was on hold, said I dropped my kids off at the bus for camp. I literally took my dogs for a partial walk. I'm fine. It's all good. I know what to expect with you. I know the role now.
I know. You actually texted me a little while back. You said, all right, I got it now. 10 minutes at the very least. So that's
Exactly.
great. That is great. I got to start with your niece. Boy, she looked great at the ESPYs last night, didn't she?
Is she the greatest? I can't tell you how proud we are of Kai. And what's so crazy, and I know everybody has this moment, and this is how you know you're getting really old, is I met Kai when she was 1. I don't even know if she had turned 1 yet. She was a baby. To see her and what she's been able to do in such a short amount of time, she's obviously an incredible golfer, but she's also, I think, kind of become a bit of a role model for a lot of, young people out there. And I can't think of a better person. She's a hard worker. She's focused. She loves this country, and she's gorgeous. So I think she's got it all going on. I love to see it. And congrats to Kai on all her success. More to come.
You can say the same things about you that you just said about your niece. So she's a great kid, yes, and she got a huge future ahead of her. Let me get to the Charlie Kirk trial. I've seen your brother-in-law, Junior, on Fox News quite a bit. He's in that courtroom. And it's ugly. All the conspiracy theories after Charlie was murdered. I mean, really sick stuff. Really sick stuff. So I'm happy, Laura, that at least getting to the point where Tyler Robinson, he's the guy. We're going to eventually put this guy away, maybe kill him. I don't know. But at any rate, at least we're getting the real answers, because what we've dealt with over the last, 9 months since Charlie was murdered has been really grotesque, no?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it has been so hard to take and so hard to watch and really sickening on so many levels. For people who didn't know Charlie, I think it's been sickening. For those of us who actually had a personal relationship with him, grotesque is probably the accurate word. And, I understand that this pretrial hearing had to go on for a longer amount of time, that Utah has a little bit different way of doing things, but I do think it kind of got dragged out a little long for a lot of people's taste. I do hope that we have full transparency here, because to your point, the way these conspiracy theories spun out of control, and the people who knew better, Sid, and went with it anyway, just to get a couple of clicks to, I guess, make a quick buck here or there, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I hope everybody shuns these people in the way they should, because this is a man who we all knew and loved for his ability to communicate with people, his ability to reach across the aisle, his love for this country, his faith that he wore on his sleeve, and the way that they have taken this situation that we all should be mourning, and also should say we want to actually find out what really happened here, and pinned it on crazy stuff like Israel, Egyptian planes, his own wife. I cannot believe some of these people, but my hope is that we get full transparency in this trial, that we put to rest all of these crazy conspiracy theories, and I hope people learned a lesson here. You can't believe all of these clickbaity type people out there on the internet. Everyone is going to try to get something over the top to say, to try to get you to click on their links and watch their videos. Be better, understand that none of this stuff at the end of the day is true, and you have to know from whom you are getting your information. Let's get rid of these lunatics who have spread these crazy theories.
Well said, Lara. Now, Monday on this program, I had Bibi Netanyahu on. He called in. He was very sad about Lindsey Graham, as we all are, and it was a great phone conversation. And we spoke about a lot of things. Obviously, he still loves your father-in-law, no matter what people say. He said, we've never been better. Yeah, we disagree. So what? Friends disagree. Family members disagree. So what? But you just said it. Some of the conspiracy theories around Charlie Kirk involves people blaming Israel. I got to tell you, Lara. Now, look, I'm biased, true. Just came back from Israel 2 weeks ago. I'm going for a 6th time since the war this October 7th, and I do love that country, and I do love Bibi. But it is sickening and crazy how all across this country people blame everything, every ill in this country and around the world on Israel. I'll be honest. I didn't even like the VP's interview with Joe Rogan. You can stay out of it. I'm not going to. So tell me, Laura, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's really crazy to see, and if you look especially at the Democrat Party, I think they hold some culpability here. You know, you go back to 2016, and you had generally, pretty strong support from the Democrats for Israel. As the years have ticked by, it has become less and less, and now it feels like you have a lot of people within that party who are flat out anti-Semitic. And I think we have to go back to it's some of these same people, by the way, who've been spreading this crazy stuff about Charlie Kirk's murder. Some of these people, I don't know what their end game is. I don't know.
Yeah, but not to stop you, but and you're right. It is 99% Democrats, but some of those people include Tucker Carlson.
And it's really crazy to see. And I don't know what, again, some of these people's goals are, or maybe who is potentially paying them to say these things. Money talks. And so at the end of the day, I think you have to kind of go back to that. But the world we're in now, the 24-hour news cycle, the way people get their news and information, oftentimes from a singular source on the internet, I think has allowed this sort of thing to spread far and wide and to really grow legs. And it's such a shame to see. It's so crazy to see. And for those people who are fighting back and pushing back against it, thank you. I think history will reflect very well on those individuals. For those who are spreading this kind of nonsense, not only is it just bad for our relationship with Israel, and that is obviously our closest Middle Eastern ally. We should have the strongest relationship with Israel. There can be no daylight between the United States and Israel. But, I also think you have to look at the way that the general nature of anti-Semitism has spread across the country and across the world. And it seems like it's rising right now. People need to take a second and really think about things. And if it seems crazy and it seems outlandish and it seems outrageous, it probably is. Check another source. Get your information from a different person or a different news site. Just double check with things, because I think a lot of people love to buy into a conspiracy theory. They hear things about Israel. They've heard things about Israel because of some of these individuals who are perpetuating this nonsense out there, and they're buying into it. And I'll tell you what, this president is standing strong, and I think there are so many people out there who have Israel's back. We need to continue to. And I think that, it's such a shame. But again, let's look at the Democrat Party, and let's look at the way these people have allowed this to spread as well.
No doubt. God, you need to be president, Laura. I'm telling you. I don't care what Eric says. I'm telling you, you have to do it. I will I'm telling you, I'll do whatever I have to do. You need to be president. You're so common sense. You're so smart. And you got a heart. Those things don't hurt either. Talking about anti-Semitism, here in New York, where you are right now, I know, we have anti-everything. This mayor, and I know I bring him up with you every week. I can't help it. You're a New Yorker. You lived in the city. This guy last week puts out his version of the immigrant enclave map, okay? He leaves out Little Italy. He leaves out Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. So he gave the big middle finger to the Italians. He leaves out Borough Park and Williamsburg and very Jewish sections across the boroughs. He leaves out Germantown. He leaves out the Rockaways and other big Irish areas. He leaves out Astoria, which is populated by the Greeks. So while we talk almost every day about Mamdani's true hatred for the Jews, that's real. That's real. This guy hates everybody. That map last week was an embarrassment for the whole city, Lara Trump.
Yeah, and if you think that it wasn't on purpose, you're wrong. It was 100% on purpose. Look, these people, these politicians, have multiple individuals and layers that everything has to go through before anything gets released. The only one who doesn't is Donald Trump. We all know he just puts it out there. He doesn't even check with anybody. But he's just about it, Sid. The rest of them go through the checks. They have multiple people, multiple advisors. So this was all on purpose. And I think you have to go back to socialism and communism itself, because that's exactly who this guy is. He's a socialist. This is the new face of the Democrat Party. This is what they want for America. And their ideas are very anti-American. It is basically 180 degrees in the opposite direction of what our founders had in mind for this country. So they don't like that people have their traditions. They want everybody to just be lumped together and suffering together. You want to have more money because you work harder? Forget about it. You can't do that with socialism and communism. Let's spread it all out for everybody. Let's stifle anybody's ability to prop themselves, their family up, their culture up, maybe innovate in some way. This is what socialism does. So any New Yorker out there who took offense to what happened, and you ought to, it doesn't matter whether or not you fall in one of these categories, understand this is the goal, not just in New York City, but across the entire country for these democratic socialists. That's what they call themselves. I call them communists, because that is the end game here. They want to fundamentally transform America, and you do that by destroying it from within. You do that by not allowing people to celebrate themselves, their cultures, or do anything special for themselves, have anything of their own, no private property, none of that stuff. This is all part of the end game for these socialists. So everyone needs to pay attention. This is why you have to get out and you have to vote in these midterm elections like it's 2024, because it ultimately really matters. These people cannot take over our federal government, because that's the end of America.